Hi, I'm Kim Rayner from All About Spirits, Life After Cancer, and I want to welcome you to episode 39 of Life After Cancer. And when you receive a cancer diagnosis, it impacts every aspect of your life. It affects your social life, it affects your spiritual life, it affects your physical life, it affects every aspect of your life. And I know that I searched for a kind of support that I wasn't able to find in traditional support groups. So I created Life After Cancer to help people who are looking for support and having a hard time finding it in the kind of support that they're looking for. So today's episode, like I said, is episode 39, and it's called Some of My Favorite Resources. And I chose this topic today because I had a conversation with somebody last week who was talking about how hard a time they were having finding resources, and that they just didn't have the energy to search for things, and they didn't have the energy to be looking for the kind of information that they wanted. And I thought, well, I've been doing my spiritual quest for about 32 years, going on 33 years. And, I amassed quite a collection of information. And then when I was going through my cancer experience, I started looking for resources, for a different kind of resources. My first batch of resources were just spirituality, self-improvement, personal growth kind of things. And then my cancer research started looking at how does my mind and body work together? How does spirituality and my health work together? So I started looking for those kind of resources. And I have, close to 150 different resources, maybe a little bit more than that I've collected over the years, that I created a bibliography for. So I thought, well, maybe I'll share some of that information. And I will invite you, if you're interested and you want a copy of my bibliography, I'm happy to share that with you. You can send me an email request, and you can just follow the link at the top of my Facebook page, my All About Spirit Facebook page, and I'll send you a copy of my bibliography, and then you'll have the same information, the same resources available. So the first thing on my list that I have, and they're alphabetical, is there's a spider that's crawling down my my stick here. Which is poignant, because the first thing I have on my list is the work by Ted Andrews. And he did a lot of research on animals and spirituality, and what are the spiritual meanings of different animals that show up in our lives. So Ted Andrews, he wrote a couple of books. One of them is called Animals Speak, and that's called The Spiritual and Magical Powers of Creatures Great and Small. And then the second book that he wrote was Animal Wise. And the way that I used that book was to, if an animal was frequently in my path, if they were frequently in my arena, I would look up the information on what the spiritual component of that animal was. So like this little spider that's doing a dance, I don't know if you can see him or not, but he's right in front of my face. He's in the camera lens. I'm going to move behind him. Spiders mean creativity. They mean spirituality, and the shape of a spider's body is the figure 8, and the figure 8 is a symbol for creativity. So so Ted Andrews' work on Animal Speak and Animal Wise was huge. The next person on my list who has many, many entries is Deepak Chopra. He, in my world, he has the best of spirituality, and he has the best of medicine, and he combines them in a way that is easy to listen to, and he is resourceful, and he speaks in language that is it's down to earth, and it's easy to understand, and he just makes it easy to understand. And he has a couple of CDs that are special to me. One of them is called The Soul of Healing Meditations, and that was a CD that came out in 2001, and it's available through the Hay House. And that particular meditation is really about preparing your body, about about preparing your body for treatment and helping your body with the treatment process. And one of the things in his work that I learned how to do was to actually open and close the sphincter muscles of my capillaries, so I could help constrict and allow the blood flow into different areas of my body. And I used that when I was treating my cancer to restrict the blood flow to the tumors, because the tumors need blood to feed on. So he was a great resource. He has a couple of other things, a couple of other books that are really poignant for me. One of them was Magical Mind, Magical Body. And that one is available through Nightingale Conant. And it's Mastering the Mind-Body Connection for Perfect Health and Total Well-Being. And that actually was an audio that came out in 1990. And so The Soul of Healing is meditations, and the other one is an audiobook that just teaches you about your body and the interaction between the soul-spirit connection. So Deepak Chopra, and also The Journey into the Boundless was another one of his books that came out by Nightingale Conant. And that one too is about exploring the connection between your body, your mind, and your spirit. The next thing on my list were, and I'm doing this alphabetically, so if I'm bouncing around, I'm sorry for that, but it was easiest for me to do it that way. The next one is actually a compilation of 3 CDs. It's put out by Wyndham Hill, and they were published first in 1983, and then again in 1984, 86, 87, 88, and 89. And the compilation is, there's a Relax CD, there's a Restore CD, and there is a Revive CD. And those are instrumental. Depending on which CD you're listening to, the Relax CD starts out a little bit faster, a little more upbeat, and it slowly walks through the process of calming down. And it's a great tool if you're feeling nervous or you're feeling scared and you're trying to relax, you're trying to go to sleep. That's a great tool to be able to use for that. So those CDs are great, and I'm sorry for moving around, but I have a clipboard here that I'm using because, like I said, I have a lot of things on my bibliography. The next book on here, this is a book, it's a really short little read. It was printed in 1994 by Gold Leaf Press. And the book is by a lady named Betty Eadie, and her last name is spelled E-A-D-I-E. And she, it's called Embraced by the Light. And that particular book was really special for me. She's a lady who actually died in the hospital, and trying to figure out or understand, trying to make sense of her life and what was going on in her life. And that book was just it was a beautiful story of her experience, and how her near-death experience became a spiritual experience for her. So that book was especially poignant for me. The next series of books, these mosquitoes are vicious, and I'm sorry for all of the wiggling around. The next series of books, if you are using essential oils, Essential Science Publishing has a book that they put out in 2005. The first one is the Desk Reference, and you might not have access to that one anymore. I think that version is out of publication, but I know that there's other volumes. I think that they might be on the 4th or 5th volume now. And that book provides information about essential oils and what essential oils can be used for treating and healing what physical ailment. The books are kind of pricey, and I'm happy to help you if you have a specific oil or specific need that you're wondering, well, what essential oil could I use with that? You can certainly reach out to me and I can share that information. You don't have to buy these books, but if you're a regular essential oil user, it is a wonderful tool to have in your library. There's another book about essential oils, and it is releasing emotions through the use of essential oils, and that's a really powerful book as well. That's a really helpful book to use, and so that's a great book too. The next series of books, literature, CDs, cassette tapes, actually, if you're old enough to know what a cassette tape is, are the work of Louise Hay. And she has so many books that are wonderful and available. And the one that I would recommend if you're going to spend money on anything would be it would be Heal Your Body, Heal Your Life, or just Heal Your Body. And that particular book, the Heal Your Body book, is a resource of the physical ailment and the emotional pattern that is associated with it. And you can look up the physical ailment that you have, and it's not for just cancer, it's for any kind of physical ailment. And you can look up the emotional pattern or the thought patterns that are behind that. And then she gives an affirmation or a mantra that you can use for healing in that process. And that is an absolute wonderful resource. It's small, it's inexpensive, and it's a tool that I have actually a couple of copies. One's in my car and one is at my home at my desk. So that's a great little tool. She has also done a lot of other works. If you are interested in audio meditations or audio affirmations, or you want to listen to powerful positive affirmations, she's got a CD or an audio cassette called 101 Powerful Thoughts, and she just repeats the thoughts. She just shares them and allows you to integrate them into your experience. She's got a guided meditation called Deep Relaxation Guided Meditation, and that's actually been around. I have that in a cassette form. It's been around since 1983, and that's a great tool. She has morning and evening meditations. She has a book called Heal Your Life, and most of her stuff is available through the Hay House. It has she has different publishers and stuff that she's used through the years, but all of her work is available through the Hay House. The next batch that I would take a look at is the work of Jerry and Esther Hicks. So in my process of healing from cancer, I became a law of attraction life coach. And the law of attraction is kind of a funky thing when you're talking about health, because most of us say, I did not attract cancer. And that's true. I did not set out. I did not go out and set forth to attract cancer. But I do have ideas and thoughts and beliefs that are consistent with other people who have been diagnosed with cancer. And the work of of Jerry and Esther Hicks is really powerful in looking at your thoughts and your ideas and saying, how do my thoughts and ideas pave the way for what's to come? So a really basic text for them is called The Law of Attraction, The Basic Teachings of Abraham. That is published by Carlsbad, and it was published in 2006, and this is actually the third edition of it. But they have tons and tons of books that are available to them. So if you just do a search for Jerry and Esther Hicks, and mosquitoes. Another resource from them that's really powerful and helpful is to go out to YouTube and just do a search for Jerry and Esther Hicks. And they have so many webinars, 15, 20-minute little blurbs that are great. It's great information. And they have different topics that you can pull the information up on, so that's a really great resource. There's a tool called the Chakras for Beginner, and that's by mindbodygreen.com, and that is actually a website, so it would be www.mindbodygreen.com, and it's called the 7 Chakras for Beginners. And if you don't know about the energy centers or the chakras, they're like little wheelhouses in our body, and this is a very super simplistic overview, right? But they're little wheelhouses in our bodies, and they send energy up and down the chakra system throughout our body. And having an understanding that each of those chakras has a different it kind of regulates a different part of your body, and if energy gets trapped in a specific part of your body, there's the likelihood that you're going to get physically ill in that part of your body is increased by that stagnant or stale energy. So that's a great little resource that's available. There's a man named John Kabat-Zinn who has a meditation CD out called Guided Mindfulness Meditations, Stress Reduction CDs, and that CD came out actually in 1994. That's a really powerful and wonderful CD if you are dealing with the stress of cancer and you're looking for a way to relax when it's time to go to bed. Kind of like the other CDs that I talked about earlier. His is guided as opposed to the previous meditations that I talked about, which were purely instrumental. So if you have a hard time quieting your mind, guided meditations are really great tools. And he's actually got a lot of different work. He's got a lifespan view of human development, which is really helpful. So that's really cool. Let's see, flipping the page here. If you're into stones and crystals, my favorite go-to person for crystals and stones is Melody. And if you do a search for her, she wrote a book. I don't know when it was first published. I got my first copy of it was done. I got it in like 1991 or 1992. And it's called A Kaleidoscope of Crystals. And that gives you tons of information, like an encyclopedia's worth of information on stones and their healing properties, what stones can be used as a resource for laying of stones, what can be used to make elixirs, what can be used for energy work, and just how to use them, when to use them, what zodiological and astrological signs they resonate with. If you're studying numerology, what numbers they resonate with. And then they also give you the physical ailments that those stones can help work with, that they help heal the energy for. And, there is some knowledge that is to be gained by using stones. If you use stones improperly, you can send the energy into your body instead of sending it out of your body. So learning about stones is really helpful, and she is absolutely the person to do that with. And her book is called Love is in the Earth, A Kaleidoscope of Crystals. And that is done, and there's many, many updated versions of that, but it's by Wheatridge Earth Love Publishing. And she also has a book called The Laying of Stones. So if you're interested in actually using the stones for, if you're actually going to use the stones for healing treatments for yourself, that's a great tool to use. It shows you how to position the stones, where to lay them on your body, where to lay them around you. So there's lots and lots of information available from Melody. There is a doctor named Peter Levine who has information. It's called Healing Trauma, and that is an amazing book. So if you feel like your cancer is perhaps related to some trauma like mine, I'm a stage 3C ovarian cancer survivor, and I am also a gang rape survivor, and the correlation between that that didn't escape me. Louise Hay, who I mentioned already, talks about cancer being hardened bits of anger and long-standing resentments and secrets, and if I was going to get cancer, where else would that be based on that kind of knowledge and information? So Peter Levine he has wonderful information on healing trauma and how to get the trauma out of your body. So that he's a great tool. Let's see, the work of Carolyn Mace. Carolyn Mace is an amazing author. She does a lot of healing kind of work. If you are interested in reincarnation or soul work, Carolyn Mace is absolutely a person to go to for that kind of work. A lot of her work is published through different authors. The Harmony House is one of them. Boulder, she does work for Sounds True. She actually has a couple of workshops that she's done for Sounds True, which have been really powerful. So Carolyn Mace is great. Let's see, I'm going to head back to kind of the chakra system and your heart center if you're looking at healing heart kind of wounds. Sanaya Roman is a great author for that. She wrote a book called Soul Love, Awakening Your Heart Center, and she wrote that in 1997. It was published by Tiburon, and I know that you can get used copies of it on Amazon, so that's really powerful. And then when it comes to actually going through chemo, preparing your body for chemo or radiation or surgery, Bernie Siegel is absolutely the go-to guy for that. He has a few different CDs. One of them is Getting Ready, and that is a CD of guided imagery and meditations for actually going through the chemo process. And he's the guy that I learned how to actually take what I perceived as the toxins and the poisons that they were putting into my body, and I was able to turn that into the picture of life-giving energy and beautiful flowers traveling through my veins. So Bernie Siegel is absolutely a go-to guy. He has Getting Ready, which is the guiding imagery and meditation part. He has Getting Ready, which is preparing for surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. And then he has a book called an audio book called Healing Partnerships, and that is affirmations to create mutual respect and trust between you and your doctor. And that is one of the things that is so powerful. You know, I'm collecting those stories, a thousand cancer survivor stories, and I am hearing over and over and over again in those stories that my doctor doesn't listen to me, or I can't understand him, or we're not on the same page. And Bernie Siegel has an absolutely great resource on figuring out how to navigate that process. He was a doctor, and he's an amazing guy. Let's see. The next guy that I would talk about probably is Dick Sutphin. Dick Sutphin is a hypnotherapist, and he does all kinds of work. His work is done through Nightingale Conant. He has one particular audio CD that was published in 2000, and it's called Spiritual Healing. And he's got all sorts of stuff, though. Psychic development, how to self-hypnotize, mind travel, astral projection, all sorts of stuff. So if you're interested in kind of exploring some of those other works, then Dick Sutphin is your go-to guy. And then the last one that I have is, if you're just interested in starting out and learning about essential oils, Gary Young, who is the Young Living Guru, which is the essential oils that I use. I know there's lots of different brands. Gary Young was kind of the grandfather of it, and he also, in my opinion, is the gold standard. He has a book called An Introduction to Young Living Essential Oils, and that was published in 2002. And that book is a great resource if you're trying to figure out, why would I want to use these oils? What do I want to do with them? How do they actually work? So Gary Young is a great resource for that. So those are my favorite go-tos in my bibliography for just for cancer and healing and that kind of thing. I also have, like I said, I have close to 150 resources on there, and they include all sorts of things from spiritual development to personal growth to different religions and different spirituality practices that I explored, all the way from Eckankar down to Buddhism and Christianity and all sorts of stuff. So I hope that you found something in this broadcast that was helpful, and if you did, like always, I hope that you share it with other people. And as this broadcast travels around the world, if you are interested in sharing your cancer survivor story, I am collecting 1,000 cancer survivor stories. I know that we heal by sharing our story. I also know that we heal by hearing the stories of others. So if you want to reach out to me, you can click the email button at the top of the page and share your cancer survivor story with me. You can email me at 1000cancersurvivorstories@allaboutspirit.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook, or you can check out my website, allaboutspirit.com, which is still under construction but close to being done. So I hope that you found, bug on my nose, hope that you found something, like I said, in here that was helpful and useful. And if you have any questions or I can help you in any way in your journey, please feel free to reach out to me. I did not do my cancer journey alone, and there really isn't any reason that anyone has to. So thanks for being here today, and until we have a chance to talk again, I hope that life treats you well and that you treat life well in return. Make it a great week. Bye.